Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. It's Monday. I mean, best day of the week.
Yeah,
Okay, it's the best day today. No, I know there's a lot of folks that kind of get down in the dumps on Mondays, but some of us got to be cheerful on Monday to kind of cheer the rest of you guys up. Got a guest coming up later in the program. I think she'll be pretty darn cheerful, too. Going to be talking with the healthy accountant, Tiffany Stokes. And it's interesting because she's an accountant and like a health expert, and she's found a way to bring those two things together. I think she might have a book. I'm not sure. I know I'm going to be chatting with her. What are you laughing about?
I'm just so glad you're prepared.
I don't know anything these days. Hey, I've got a guest coming up we're talking about, but I've got a quote that I can tell you everything about because I can see it here from Alan Kay. Go ahead and ask, Heidi.
Who's Alan Kay?
I have no idea. The best way to predict the future is to invent it. That's what he has to say, and he's Alan Kay.
All righty.
All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It is Monday, the 19th day of June. It is Garfield the Cat Day, International Day for the Elimination of Sexual Violence and Conflict Day. It is Juneteenth today. It is Ride to Work Day. Behind that says motorcycles, so it's Ride Your Motorcycle to Work Day, basically.
Okay.
World Sickle Cell Day and World Sauntering Day. So wherever you're going today, you should saunter there.
All right.
Have you ever sauntered? Do you know what that is?
I don't know.
Isn't that like where you...
A sexy walk?
It's like a little bit of almost like a, yeah. Like
I don't think
like
so.
Like a saunter?
I don't saunter.
I don't saunter either, but today's the day to do it. And it's the day to ride your motorcycle to work. I would like to see a biker saunter. I'd like to see that now.
I can barely walk normal.
Yeah, same here. All right. A lot of stuff going on. We're going to get to it all in just a bit. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
I love watching TV shows and movies, but I hated seeing my monthly bill get higher and higher. All that money every month just to watch TV. Well, not anymore. We cut our cable. We were paying $185 a month for channels we didn't even watch. Now we pay for just the internet, and we save about $150 a month. And we still get to watch what we want, when we want, with no monthly fee. Learn how you can do this too at channelsurfertv.com. Watch the video there to learn how to watch movies and TV with no monthly fee. Do it today and save 50% at channelsurfertv.com.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Listen to this. This happened in sunny Florida, in Bartow, Florida. A plane crashed. It came out of the sky, crashed on a car in a church parking lot.
Ah.
Yeah. So it wasn't a big plane, but a plane crashed into a car outside of a church. I think this was last week on Sunday in Florida. The pilot was taken to the hospital. The owner of the car was inside the church, so they were not hurt. The car, however, ended up upside down, so probably not going to be, driving home from church with that. The pastor of Good Hope Missionary Baptist Church said he and his church congregation were in the middle of worship when they heard a loud bang, and they wondered what the problem was. After church, they go outside and find an airplane in their parking lot on a car, in a car, smashed into a car.
Crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. I wonder if it was Harrison Ford. Just kidding. Didn't he have a crash landing?
He's had several.
Like two of them?
Yeah.
One was on a golf course, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then the other one was like just off the runway, maybe?
Yeah.
So I probably shouldn't joke about that because that is a very serious topic. But have you ever been in like a little airplane that you thought was going to crash?
I was only in a little airplane once, and it scared the heck out of me. I wouldn't ever get back up.
I would do it.
One.
I definitely would. We were with a guy that used to come hunting with us. He lived in Chicago, and he would come to South Dakota when I was a little boy to go pheasant hunting. He would come up there, and he had an airplane, and there's photos of us standing in front of the airplane as little kids looking like idiots. I'm like, why would our parents let us dress that way? We looked so stupid. It's like, why in the world didn't you tell me not to dress like that? But we would go up in the airplane, and there was one time we were flying where, you know how it like just drops?
I didn't like that at all.
Because like an air pocket or whatever, and I thought for sure we were toast.
Because in a big plane, you have that turbulence, but it's not as bad
this
as
little
it is
one
in
was
a
like,
little plane.
We're all squeezed in there. It was
awful.
kind of scary. Anyway, this one crashed in the church parking lot. Sounds like everybody's okay. And you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
Each day at this time, we talk about people doing dumb things under the influence, but addiction is no laughing matter.
If you or someone you know needs help, there's a toll-free number you can call.
1-800-438-0380.
That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline.
1-800-438-0380.
And this is your brain on drugs. The Dominion Post reports that a man in Carlton, New Zealand, pled guilty to drug possession after he attempted to invent a new form of currency, apparently. He wanted to cure his munchies, needed some M&Ms, so wanted to get some M&Ms and a bag of potato chips at a convenience store. He was short on cash, so he said, hey, will you take marijuana instead? No. He didn't really have anything else he could possibly say, because guess who was standing right behind the stoner?
Oh.
A police officer. Seriously. I mean, the timing on that was perfect. So even if the clerk wanted to take it, it's not like you could say, yeah, we'll take that.
The clerk probably did want to take it and couldn't because there was a cop right behind the guy.
Look behind you. You probably shouldn't have asked that. Yeah, he got arrested on the spot.
Oh, man.
Not the smartest thing that he's well, who knows? Maybe that is the smartest thing. I'm not speaking for him. We do have your moment of duh, which I think is hilarious, and it's on the way.
John and Heidi.
The moment of duh somehow makes me happy every day. And I think part of it is because I feel smarter by seeing how just absolutely silly some other people can be. These are not things that are smart. A fugitive was found and arrested after posting Snapchat photos, Snapchat pictures of herself and her child at an amusement park. This is not rocket science, people. If you're wanted by the law, don't do Snapchat to let people know where you are. I'm just saying, this is not smart stuff. Allegheny County, Pennsylvania Sheriff William Mullen says Kimberly Dolan, 19, was wanted for, listen to this, she wasn't like blowing stop signs and stuff, attempted homicide in violation of bond conditions, meaning she was out on bond and skipped bond. Upon seeing Dolan's Snapchat update, the amusement park is where she was in Pennsylvania. Deputies contacted the police who were already stationed there, and they went over and picked her up without incident. Having fun at the park so far?
So if you're out on bond, you can't go to an amusement park?
No, she skipped. She left.
She
was
left
gone.
the state.
Yeah, like she left. She was out on bond and then never came back.
Oh.
So, yeah, she's in a little bit of trouble. So don't do stuff like that. Anyway, if you'd like to read more about it, I've got all the details at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
If you promised yourself you'd lose weight before you went to the beach, that's still within reach. Get some help from a cool pink drink. Try it free at pinkdrinkfree.com. This pink drink tastes great and can help you lose weight. 8 out of 10 Americans are overweight. If you're tired of being one of them, we'd love to help. People around the country are experiencing amazing results with this pink drink, and you can try it before you buy it at pinkdrinkfree.com. That's pinkdrinkfree.com.
John and Heidi.
Now your scoop of the day. The London Sun reports that a French company is making and marketing a line of environmentally correct green women's underwear made from wood. Sounds real comfortable, too. The line is called G equals 9.8. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's the scientific figure for the Earth's acceleration.
Oh, my God.
Their women's undergarments are made from fibers of white pine trees, but they say women will not get splinters because the wood fibers are spun into a silky, soft texture. I'd like to see what that looks like. I'm going to see if I can get you some of those, Heidi. I'm going to get you some wooden underwear. Looking to save a little cash each month by maybe cutting your energy bills? You can shut off the game console between plays. According to a recent study, about 70% of overall power draws of the world's consoles come from the machines while they're not even being used. That translates, by the way, into $1 billion each year wasted on power.
Well, we don't have any of those things.
No.
We've got an Atari, but it's not hooked up right now.
It hasn't been plugged in like 4 years. Even though local hunters claim they've never done such a thing, a law in Vienna now bans anglers from casting their lines out of a moving airplane or other vehicle. Can you imagine?
That would be impossible.
How would you
go where you
How would you go fishing in an airplane? It's illegal, so you can't. They also made it now against the law to hunt deer by blowing them up with explosives.
Oh, wow.
Vienna apparently just needed more laws on the books.
A moving vehicle, though, does that include a boat? So you can't cast while your boat is moving?
I have no clue, but it says out of moving vehicles, airplanes and other moving vehicles. So airplanes were mentioned in the law. So I don't know what's going on.
I wonder who made that law necessary. I would have liked to have seen that.
What were you doing when this happened? Well, I was fishing from my airplane. What? Why? Then I was blowing up deer. Okay, we need some new laws on the books. That's just nuts. According to a survey by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the average French person spends 8 hours and 50 minutes sleeping. They get the most sleep, almost an hour more than citizens from nations like Japan and Korea at 8 hours and 30 minutes. United States comes in at number 2, by the way. 8 hours and 30 minutes is how much sleep we get. French get the most, 8 hours and 50 minutes, and that's like an hour more than Japan and Korea. And we get the second most, 8 hours and 30 minutes of sleep. And that's not everybody, because, some of us don't get that much sleep. 32 New York City mobsters have been indicted for, no, not drugs, no, not, shipping illegal weapons, for stolen chocolate trafficking.
What?
Yeah, 32 New York City mobsters indicted for trafficking stolen chocolate. So, when they're in the big house, I'm sure they're going to talk about, so what are you in for? Did all kinds of bad stuff.
Well, we just talked about a guy who was willing to trade weed for chocolate,
Yeah,
so maybe there's a market for it.
Must be. Hey, just because you exercise your rights to free speech doesn't mean sponsors have to pay for it. Delta Airlines and Bank of America pulled their 6-figure sponsorships from New York's Public Theater.
I think that is
have you heard?
amazing.
Do you know what it was?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
They had revamped Julius Caesar. They reimagined the play, and the president they cast a person for Caesar who looked like the president, and then instead of stabbing them to death, they stabbed them to death from a group of women and minorities. So it wasn't, et tu, Brute. It was just silliness. I don't understand why we're doing this.
At all. It's not silly.
But that's what I'm saying. It's silly that they're even thinking to do
president
this.
Is.
Have some
it
respect,
is not
man.
okay.
And it's the thing, whether you agree or disagree.
Put forth those kinds of threats.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It's a bad idea.
It doesn't matter whether you like this president or not, or whether you like the previous president or not. It is not acceptable for any president to be putting forth ideas of assassination. Look what just happened at that ball game.
Yeah.
You can't spew that kind of hatred and not expect horrible things to happen.
It's a bad idea. Hey, something that happened last week that I didn't even realize until I was reading it on Facebook. Did you know? Over a week ago now, in a non-binding election, Puerto Rico voted in favor of becoming the 51st state of the United States. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. So the thing that's interesting, though, is the non-binding part. So what does that mean? So they're saying, would you like to be the 51st state? Not saying that we're going to make you. Just wondering, would you like to be? So I think that's kind of what it is. So I wonder what the next process is in them becoming the 51st state. And then the main question, where are we going to put that extra star on the flag?
Yeah, I don't know that I want to buy a new flag.
No, I don't know what we're going to do. Anyway, all I can tell you is that's everything I know, and this has been your Scoop of the Day.
John and Heidi.
How long's it been since you've been on vacation?
Way too long.
Well, we're going to Punta Cana this November for a cool event called 80s in the Sand.
I'm so looking forward to just being able to relax during the day. All day, every day for 7 full days. And, as a bonus, get to hear some awesome music at night.
You can also meet some 80s icons like Anthony Michael Hall, Andrew McCarthy, and many more.
Get all the details at 80sinthesand.com.
Use promo code RADIO to get a $200 immediate refund per person.
That website again is 80sinthesand.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a guest today that has kind of a cool life here because she's got 2 completely different things that she does. She's a certified health coach and she's an accountant. So we're going to be talking today about your physical well-being and your financial well-being and how those 2 things are linked together. And we have Tiffany Stokes on the line. Tiffany, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Very good. That's quite the combination. So you're an accountant and a coach, like a certified health coach. Now, which one of those did you do first? Was there one of those that you kind of started with?
I actually started with accounting first. I got my bachelor's in accounting in 2010, and I got my master's in management and accounting in 2014.
Very cool. So you were working along as an accountant, and then something said, okay, Tiffany, you're not done yet. You've got more to offer. And how did that come about?
I was actually diagnosed with a autoimmune condition in the late summer of 2014. That was what started the health side of it. I started health coaching school that October and spent a year in that program. And I was already sort of a healthy aspect because I had lost 70 pounds over 2 years prior.
Nice.
But yeah, it was pretty awesome. But once I became sick, it was like a whole new aspect of it because I chose holistic means to become well again as opposed to the medications. I did take the medications they wanted me to take. Me choosing the holistic means and switching completely to whole foods, plant-based, was what propelled my recovery as opposed to if I had just done the medication.
Well, that is really cool. And I'm looking on your website here, and I see that you were in the military as well. Thank you for your service in the Army.
Oh, thank you.
So you got all kinds of cool stuff. You got a military background, you're an accountant, you're a holistic health coach. So when you look at all of those different things and how they all come together in that one person and you, what would you say are the common things when you're looking at helping somebody with their physical well-being and with their financial well-being? Are there some things that kind of overlap there?
There are. Just from my personal experience, the one thing I've learned over the years is that both areas will suffer. When you're stressing about finances, your health will suffer. When your health suffers, for whatever reason, it could affect your finances because you're not focusing on that as well. So that is the biggest thing that I've learned over the last few years through my financial and health struggles.
So when you're struggling in one area, sometimes it grabs on and pulls you down in other areas too?
It does.
Again, our guest right now, Tiffany Stokes, and she is the Healthy Accountant. Now, for a person that's listening right now that maybe they know that they need to change some lifestyle things. They want to do, like you said, you lost 70 pounds. That's pretty darn cool. If somebody listening is going, I want to do that, what would you say is the first step toward doing that?
The first step is really just wanting to do it. When you're not in the right mindset, it kind of hinders your progress. You have to be to the point where you're ready to make the changes. Those changes aren't easy. It's going to take a lot of hard work and determination, and if your mindset isn't there, I hate to say it, but you're going to fail every time because you're going to give up instead of pushing forward through those hard times.
So you gotta make sure this is something you really want to do. It's not just something you say you want to do. You got to really want to do it.
Right.
And now with what you're doing right now, being an accountant and also being a holistic health coach, do you have a lot of clients that are clients that do both, where you're working with them on accounting and you're working with them on the other side, or are they usually typically two completely different sets of people?
Right now I have two separate different sets of people, but I found a connection in all of them. I mean, all of my clients have had some health issues, or the health clients have had some financial issues. It's just that my programs are actually fairly new because I just combined them. So, but talking to all my clients, I've seen a connection in both areas.
Very cool. So, next year at tax time, you could say, now here's your tax returns and here's your new diet plan.
Yes.
Wait a minute, what is this? I'm the healthy accountant, remember? Again, our guest today, Tiffany Stokes. Tiffany, it's been fun to chat with you. For people who would like to maybe learn more, is the best place to go your website here, TiffanyStokes.com?
Yes, it is.
So we'll make sure we let folks know that, TiffanyStokes.com, and again, the Healthy Accountant. And I think that's really cool that you're able to do both of those, helping people financially and also helping people with their health. And I wish you the very best in bringing those two things together. I'd never thought of those two as two things that went hand in hand, but after visiting with you, it does make a ton of sense, doesn't it?
It does, and thank you. I appreciate that.
Again, Tiffany Stokes has been our guest today. TiffanyStokes.com is her website, and she is the Healthy Accountant. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Would you like custom t-shirts for an event or sports team? We understand that usually the budget's not unlimited. We have full-color custom printed t-shirts for just $7 each. That's one of the best prices you'll find anywhere. No minimum orders, so you can print just one or print 1,000. The price is just $7 per shirt with a minimal setup fee per design. Make the memories of your next event last forever, or help your team look amazing with a little help from CustomShirtInc.com. That's CustomShirtInc.com.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The plant life in the ocean makes up about 85% of all of the greenery on our planet.
Oh.
So think about all the greenery that we see. That's only 15% of it.
That's crazy.
85%, if my math is correct, is underneath the water. So 85%.
So do they produce oxygen underwater?
It's a good question, Heidi. And fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
I don't know the answer to yours. The pupil of an octopus's eye is rectangular. So the pupil is, instead of round, it's rectangular. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The United States has never lost a war in which mules were used, so we should just have mules on hand for every war, I think is what they're trying to say. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The reason firehouses have circular stairways is to keep horses from going upstairs from back in the day.
I think we've talked about that.
I think so, too.
Maybe on Tuesdays with Charlie? I don't know.
And I know we talked about this. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The airplane Buddy Holly died in was named American Pie, and that's where the
I knew
song
that.
from Don McLean got its name. I know we talked about it. I think several of these things today. There's only so many fun facts out there, and I think I'm using them all
There are
up.
a lot of fun facts.
I'll have to come up with some more. Fun facts brought to you by pinkdrinkfree.com. Not just another diet, it's a way of life. pinkdrinkfree.com.
John and Heidi.
If you promised yourself you'd lose weight before you went to the beach, that's still within reach. Get some help from a cool pink drink. Try it free at pinkdrinkfree.com. This pink drink tastes great and can help you lose weight. 8 out of 10 Americans are overweight. If you're tired of being one of them, we'd love to help. People around the country are experiencing amazing results with this pink drink, and you can try it before you buy it at pinkdrinkfree.com. That's pinkdrinkfree.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Every once in a while, we have a story that is just so ridiculous. I mean, this almost became my, it's true because you heard it on the radio, because it's just so ridiculous. A video shoot on Detroit's West Side ended after police arrived and shots were fired. Believing they were breaking up an armed robbery, they had responded to a 911 call of somebody that said, "Hey, I just witnessed a robbery." Well, it was being conducted out of a black Jeep with no doors. When the officers arrived, they saw a man getting out of a black Jeep with no doors and running up to an Aston Martin vehicle. Officer Dan Donwoski says, a Detroit Police Department spokesperson is who he is, says the subject appeared to be armed and appeared to be robbing the Aston Martin. When officers approached the man turned toward the cop holding what appeared to be a weapon. An officer fired 3 shots, but none took effect. That's when they found out the suspects were shooting a video. They forgot to notify authorities, and they didn't get the proper permits or a license to do so, but they were shooting like a music video, like doing I don't know if it's a film, a movie, a video, but they were just filming a video.
Okay.
And they had like a fake gun, and this police officer shot at the man 3 times. Thank goodness didn't hit him.
How can an officer shoot
I
at a
don't
person
know.
3 times and not hit them?
I don't know how far away he was. Or it could be he or she. It doesn't say. When officers approached, the man turned toward the cops. An officer fired 3 shots, but none took effect. So it doesn't say if it was a he or a she. But an officer in Detroit squeezes out 3 shots, and the guy with the fake gun didn't get hit.
Wow.
That's where I said this almost became my, it's true because you heard it on the radio segment, because this just sounds unreal. And first of all, wouldn't you think they'd say something before shooting? Because they could have said, well, guys, hey, we're just shooting a video. Where was the cameraman? Did they not see a cameraman shooting this video?
Maybe he started to say that. I said, we're just shooting, and the cop just shot.
Well,
because he's like, no.
First thing I would do is...
And you got to remember where this was.
I just don't know what's going on.
I'd be a little trigger happy as well.
Well, and that's the thing. I know Detroit's not known for being like a peaceful place, but this is just ridiculous. And I'm moving on. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
I love watching TV shows and movies, but I hated seeing my monthly bill get higher and higher. All that money every month just to watch TV. Well, not anymore. We cut our cable. We were paying $185 a month for channels we didn't even watch. Now we pay for just the internet, and we save about $150 a month. And we still get to watch what we want, when we want, with no monthly fee. Learn how you can do this too at channelsurfertv.com. Watch the video there to learn how to watch movies and TV with no monthly fee. Do it today and save 50% at channelsurfertv.com.
John and Heidi.
The Green Movement is now claiming that diaper-free babies would help save the planet.
Oh, good Lord.
They're saying no diapers on babies. No, we're not saying you should use, the cloth diapers, because then you have to wash the cloth diapers and that pollutes the water. So what is the solution? Retro, cutting-edge, environmentally friendly idea is to encourage moms to let their babies go free. Nothing. And then carry
you would still have to clean their clothing.
But here's the thing. They say then carry a tight-lidded bucket with them. So when the kid... I'm not even kidding. This is seriously in the story. a tight-lidded bucket with them, so when they have to go, you hold them over a bucket.
A baby.
Yeah.
A baby is not going to tell you.
Excuse me, mother, can you please hold me over the bucket?
That is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard.
I'm all for saving the planet because, I live here too, and I want to take care of it for my children and their children and their children. Then on the next generation, though, because they're going to be jerks. But then the following generation, those kids, because it doesn't skip like every 8th generation or something. I'm just being silly there. But I do want to look out for our planet. But diapers are things that I think
It's kind of important.
Yeah. Even just a cloth one is fine. Something is better than nothing in that scenario. That's a bad idea.
Maybe somebody can we come up with a biodegradable diaper that...
They're probably working on it right now. After seeing this bucket solution, there's certainly better be somebody working on that. Anything is better than this. Maybe we'll do that when we get off the program
Can't
today.
they make diapers out of wood? Isn't what they were just doing for...
underwear out of wood, so who knows?
Yeah.
Coming up, we're going to talk about some more science on the way.
John and Heidi.
Scientists have discovered a small molecule which they've named fatostatin, or fatostatin. F-A-T-O-S-T-A-T-I-N. Fatostatin?
I don't know.
That's probably what it is. Anyway, it stops your body from making fat. Obese mice were injected with fatostatin in a study, and it showed noticeable weight loss without a big difference in their eating habits. Interesting stuff. Blood sugar and cholesterol dropped as well. Fatostatin, Heidi.
Huh.
I wonder when it's going to be ready for me. Would you try something like this if they could give you a shot and you could eat and you wouldn't gain weight?
Oh, absolutely.
You would?
Awesome.
See, here's the thing. I don't know if I would because I'm thinking there's got to be a problem. If you're eating all this stuff and you're not gaining weight, where are these calories going?
Who cares?
I would care. Because you're going to wake up one day and all of a sudden it's like overnight, boom, this fatostatin stuff. It's just like a time release. You wake up in 6 months and you gain 200 pounds overnight. You're like, oh, what happened?
I wouldn't if it was called Fato Satan.
Yeah.
Incidentally, that was my nickname in high school.
No, it wasn't. All right. Coming up, we got some more fun stuff to talk about here. The cold hands, warm heart myth. We're going to talk about that.
John and Heidi.
How long's it been since you've been on vacation?
Way too long.
Well, we're going to Punta Cana this November for a cool event called 80s in the Sand.
I'm so looking forward to just being able to relax during the day. All day, every day for 7 full days. And, as a bonus, get to hear some awesome music at night.
You can also meet some 80s icons like Anthony Michael Hall, Andrew McCarthy, and many more.
Get all the details at 80sinthesand.com.
Use promo code RADIO to get a $200 immediate refund per person.
That website again is 80sinthesand.com.
John and Heidi.
Heidi, have you ever held somebody's hand and it's freezing cold?
Yes.
And then they say, oh, you know what they say? Cold hands, warm heart.
Yes.
Do you believe any of that stuff?
No.
Do I have cold hands?
Not usually.
I think I do. My hands always seem to be cold when it's cold outside anyway, because I don't wear mittens and
When
stuff.
it's cold outside. When you're outside.
Is that not what other people, their hands are always cold? I don't know how it works. Well, if you believe the old adage, cold hands, warm heart, think again. Researchers have tested students with both warm and cold hands to see how they acted, and the warm hands not only proved to be more generous, but they also saw others in a better light. Says one study leader, physical warmth can make us see others as warmer people, but also cause us to be warmer as well, end quote. So what do you think of all of that? So they're saying warm hands, warm heart. Here's what I say. I think that it's all just coincidence.
Yeah,
I don't think that
any
the
of that has any
temperature
merit.
of your hands has anything to do with how kind you are.
No.
And if there's somebody out there that disagrees with that, that's okay. I'm fine with the fact that I didn't change your mind. I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just saying I believe that the temperature of my hands and the kindness out of my heart are two completely separate things. And I might have cold hands and a warm heart, and I might have warm hands and a warm heart. Or I might have cold hands and cold heart. Or I might not even have a heart. I don't know what the other options are, but I think all of those things are possible. I don't think that the temperature of your hands makes you better. Do you?
No, I just said this has no merit at all.
Okay, well, can we move on then?
You just kind of drug this out a little too long.
I just noticed you kind of checking out over there. All of a sudden, you're get your hand on the
Eyes are
doorknob.
glossing over.
Get your hand on the doorknob, ready to leave. I'm not exactly sure where you're going, but can you stick around for some good news?
Sure.
All right, we'll get to that here in a bit. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news, and I've got some good news here, Heidi. And so many times our good news starts out as bad news.
Okay.
And then it turns into good news. Well, people in Indonesia have rallied in support of an elderly banana seller who was robbed of more than $80. Now, this was in Indonesia where $80 is a lot of money. And that's a lot of money here, too. I'm saying if I had $80 and somebody took it, I would not be thrilled. I'd be upset, but he's...
I'd be extremely upset.
Yeah, I don't want you taking anything. But
it's like life-changing.
Yeah, after the 94-year-old was robbed, somebody posted a video of the distraught banana salesman.
Aww.
And he said he planned to use some of the stolen money to buy new furniture. So he was going to buy furniture.
Aww.
Somebody stole the money so he couldn't. Listen to this. After his video was posted on Facebook, donations, not only locally, but from around the world, have come pouring in. And I guarantee you they've raised way more than his $80.
He'll definitely be able to afford his furniture.
So, in a way, the person that stole that stuff from him probably did him a favor.
Wow.
It sounds kind of weird to say it that way, but it's really cool.
Imagine how long it took him to earn that. You know what bananas cost a pound?
I don't know.
Not
Are
much.
they? I haven't bought a banana, I don't think, in my entire life. I don't think I've ever purchased a banana.
Well, here, they're like 30 cents a pound or something. And
so
that's after they've been imported.
Yeah, I
so
suppose.
There.
He's like, well, I got no importing, so it's like, give you a nickel? A pound? How much does a banana weigh? A banana doesn't weigh a pound, does it?
No.
They're like 3 cents
That's
a
what I'm
banana?
saying. That's a lot of bananas.
Well, it's $80 was stolen. And I want to make sure that I'm clear, because as I'm thinking about what I said, I don't want to encourage people to rob somebody, because I kind of
they'll come out on top.
I kind of came across that way. I'm just saying, in a roundabout way, it worked out really good for this guy, and you get to see the kindness of others. And I'm not saying that I'm glad that he was robbed, because that was a bad thing, but I think it's really cool that something so negative turned into something so positive.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to say. That I know I did a terrible job of enunciating that, because it's a Monday and I'm done. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Time now for a bonus break on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a special guest joining us right now, Houston Haugo, and he has some really cool horses. There's a fun event coming up in Brookings, South Dakota. It's going to be happening later this month, the 24th and the 25th, and it's the Dakota Royal Charity Draft Horse Show, and he's got a bunch of the horses that are going to be a part of this. Houston, how are you doing, sir?
Good, sir.
Well, now,
Keep talking to you.
Well, how long have you owned these big draft horses like this?
Well, I've been in horses all my life. I had a father who was horse crazy and horse nuts, but in the big horses, I've only been in 5 years. I saw them in 1991 in the National Western Stock Show out in Denver. Horses like this, and I just fell in love with the big black brutes, and we started buying them 5 years ago, and we've been showing all over the United States, and we were proud enough to be invited to the Rose Bowl 2 years ago, so we showed there, and we've had a real nice success with it.
That's really neat. Now, a lot of people are very familiar with like the Budweiser Clydesdales. They see those big horses, but Clydesdales are big, but they're not the only big horses, because there's also the ones you have. You have Shire, and did you say you also have Belgian, or what are the others that you have?
We have Shires, and then my trainer is a Belgian man, and he and his father and brothers show Belgians. And then there's a Percheron, which is very popular in the draft horse world today. In fact, they're the really top winners in a lot of shows.
Now, the event that's coming up later this month, this is a pretty unique event, isn't it?
It really is. We have one of the finest draft horse shows in the United States. That's prejudicial thinking, but we're in the Swiftel Center at 1 o'clock each day, and we do a couple of things that are a little different. First of all, because I show the horses, I believe in 3 judges rather than one person being bought off and showing favoritism.
Yeah.
We have 3 judges, and they individually judge it, and only the composite of those 3 is shown, and nobody is supposed to be able to see the results. And we start out with the 6-horse hitch. It's kind of like rodeo, where everybody goes to the rodeo to see the last event. And I've been in this, like I say, 5 years actively showing, and all the shows, the crowd just dissipates. You know, they watch the cart and the team and the unicorn and the 4-up. Well, by the time the 6 come on, half the audience is gone.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, why not try with the 6 up front?
That's really cool.
And that's what we do. And so we have the 6 up, start out at 1 o'clock, and then we have the 4 and the unicorn and the team, and then cart class is what we end up with, ladies and men's cart.
Nice.
And it's really a beautiful show.
Now, you had mentioned the unicorns. Now, we're not talking about horses with a big horn sticking out of their forehead, are we?
No, we're talking about a team of horses, and then when they needed extra pulling power, they'd put an extra horse out front, and that would provide them, without hooking up to 4 or 6 or 8 or whatever, that would provide them extra pulling power. And it's called the unicorn. It's not a horse with a horn up the center of its head.
So it's not a mythical creature, but it is really cool to see.
Yes, it sure is. And then we have farm teams, and that's like Grandpa and Grandma would have farmed with, and they do a farm feed race, and then we also have antique vehicles in there, a class with the antiques, and then we have the juvenile classes too, and that's just to give our young folks who work with every hitch a chance to show off their training so far. And it's really a well-done show, and the Swiftel Center has stadium seating, air conditioning, food right there, and we have the horses in another barn next door. It's about 50 feet away, and we also have silent auctions going on during each day's show, and you can buy these donated gifts, which goes to our Youth Draft Horse Fund.
Nice.
So that there'll be money for scholarships and for maybe a program of draft horses at State College.
Well, that's really cool. The event is coming up on Saturday and Sunday, June 24th and 25th in Brookings, South Dakota at a place called the Swiftel Center. I've been there. It's a beautiful place, and you're right. It's a great place to have an event, isn't it?
Oh, it's wonderful. They put in dirt, and they're very, very, very nice staff to work with.
And I see tickets are just $10 for adults and $5 for kids, $5 for kids 11 and under. And the thing that's neat about this, and the reason I wanted to chat with you, is this is something that whether you grew up in the country and you were around horses, chances are you weren't around the big horses like this. And if you were, you're very fortunate. But even if you didn't grow up in the country, if you grew up in the city, it's still really fun to go and see these big, beautiful, gentle giants, isn't it?
Yeah. And we have a very unique opportunity this year. We have the gentleman, Mike Olson, who's in the farm class, bring one of his big Belgians in, and then our printer, it just happens to be, is in the miniatures. And so we're going to have a huge draft horse out there, and then alongside his little bitty buddy, a miniature, and the size difference is amazing.
Yeah.
And we also have their shoes out on display. I think the shoe for the draft horse probably weighs as much as a poor little pony.
Yeah, I'll bet.
But it's kind of a fun event, and we have a lot of good people working on it. And we have probably one of the largest displays of draft horses you'll ever see in the Midwest or in the United States. We have 15 six-horse hitches coming for this show.
Wow.
And that's a lot of horsepower to put in the ring at one time.
Absolutely is. Yeah, that is a ton. Well, I appreciate you taking some time to visit with me. We have a mutual friend. I've heard of this. I've been hearing it advertised the last several years, but he and I were chatting, and he said, you should call and talk to Houston about it. It's fascinating. And I said, I'm going to do that. So I appreciate you chatting with me about it. It's coming up on Saturday and Sunday, June 24th and 25th in Brookings, South Dakota at the Swiftel Center. And I've got a link to this on our Facebook page, but if you want to find them on Facebook, just go to facebook.com/Dakota Royal Draft Show. And like I said, I have a link to it on our Facebook page as well. Again, Houston, thank you very much for chatting with me about this, sir.
Thank you, John. We wish you the very best.
Absolutely. And again, the Dakota Royal Charity Draft Horse Show, they've got 6 horse hitches from 10 different states, and it's going to be happening at the Swiftel Center in Brookings, South Dakota, Saturday and Sunday, June 24th and 25th, and that starts at 1 p.m. both days. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.